down.
Do you remember arriving and what it was like?
Do what?
Do you remember arriving and what it was like?
Well, do you remember maybe arriving at your first assignment or the first place you guys went on ship and what it was like?
Oh yeah, it was kind of scary. You didn't know what to do. You'd never been out on the water, and you had to, I'll tell you what you had to do when you was in boot camp. You had to be able to swim. If you couldn't swim, well, you had to stay there until you got a swimming license. You had to pass the test. And how you passed that, they had a swimming pool. I think it was about 50 feet long. You had to swim across it. Well, first, before you got in the water, you had to climb up this big tower, and I don't know how high it was, but it seemed awful high to us kids. Because I was only like 19, and it seemed awful scary. You had to jump off of that, and they kept passing the word, if you can't swim, don't jump off. And then you had to, when you jumped in the water, you had to swim across. Then you had to come back, swim so far on your back. Then you had these whites, what we call whites, that was our suit. And then you had to take them off in the water while you was wet. But there were some of them, a couple of them jumped off and couldn't swim. They had to rescue them right away.
What was your job assignment?
I was a signalman. They had flashing lights. You learned the Morse code, and you'd send them light by dit-daw, and then you had flags, you know.
Is that hard to learn?
No, it wasn't. After you learned the code, so you'd give for a dash, and then a dit fast with the light. No, you got good at it, and a lot of times when the guy was sending you a message, you could hold the light on steady, and he'd just keep sending. You had a guy writing it down all the time you was picking that message.
What military vehicles did you drive or ride?
Military vehicles, did you drive right?
No, I never had nothing to do with military vehicles.
Except for ships, right?
Just the ship. Well, I was the steer of the ship. I was the steer. When we went in and out of harbor, I had to steer the ship.
Did you see combat?
Did I see what?
Did you see combat?
Combat.
Well, I suppose when them kamikazes was after us. When we was over there in, I guess I forgot to mention, in the bays in the southern France, they was shelling that beach over there, and by God, you could have stood out there, and we stayed back quite a way because we was on this oil tank, but you could practically, if you had a newspaper, you could have read it for how light it was. And then the Rich, that was a destroyer, it hit a mine over there. We was way back. It just like that, and that thing something all sticking out, just the yard, or the yard, you know, the stack where the yard arm goes on.
What were a couple of your most memorable experiences?
What was that again? I can't hear very good.
What were a couple of your most memorable experiences?
Oh,
Kamikazes.
I suppose them kamikazes was the worst. Basically, one time we was there in this harbor, and we had a chaplain on board, and they was going to have church down on the front deck there, and they bring these sailors over from these other ships, and they just got everybody set down there to have church, and one of them kamikazes come. He made a couple passes there, and finally that destroyer shot him down. That was one good memory.
Were you a prisoner?
No,
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
I got all my medals. I got the good conduct medal, and then all the different places where they had different areas in. They give you a pin you put on here, you know.
How did you get that?
Well, when you went in these, like the good conduct, was how you conducted yourself on the ship and all that. But then when you went in these different theaters, they called them, you get see, I got some on the east and Atlantic side, and then I got some on the west coast side. And just when you went in there married, you was awarded this.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
Well, you could write, and just you didn't dare tell them where you was at, but you could write them a letter and just. But then, if you mailed it, they censored it. See, so you didn't put nothing in there. You just write it so they know you were still alive.
What was the food like?
Oh, we had good food. Never. They fed good.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
Yeah, we did. Like I say, when I was on this destroyer escort, that was after the war. When it was rough, you never ate. All you ate was sandwiches when it was rough. You didn't go to mess hall and eat where you had the dishes and stuff. You just ate sandwiches.
Did you feel any pressure or stress?
No, I don't think so. We had a pretty good crew. The bunch I worked with was awful good. Well, I knew everybody on the ship you did. And they was all good guys, the ones I was with. And most of our officers was good. See, our skipper, when I was on this repair ship, he started out as a apprentice seaman. He'd worked clear up to, I was on some big battleship we went on, and they had the troops on the front deck there putting on these shows. That was the USO troops, they called them.
What did you do on leave?
Huh?
What did you do on leave?
I went home. Oh, you mean when we got in? Well, we went over and had a beer or two once in a while. Movies.
Where did you travel while in the service?
Huh?
Where did you travel while in the service?
Well, we traveled all over. I think I was in every. See, our home port was Norfolk, Virginia, and they was afraid that was they might come in there and bomb, all the ships was in there or something. So then they moved us up to Portland, Maine, and then we used to go up there to Portland, Maine when they had, what was that? We took a lot of people out. Somebody died and we scattered ashes on the water. And
what were some of the pranks that you or others would pull?
well, I tell you, one time we called up somebody we had phones on the ship. Then we called up. No, I guess somebody called us. And we was up there and the phone rang and this other kid, he picked up the phone and said, Sloppy Joe's bar, and they just hung up. Always put things too in their beds. And
Do you have any photographs from your time in the service?
not too many.
Okay. Who were the people in the photographs?
Well, just some friends of mine.
Shipmates?
Shipmates.
Okay. What did you think of your officers and your fellow seamen?
Oh, they was good. We liked them. I never run on the bat. See, they had a lot of them that had got in a lot of trouble. They used to put them on a ship by themselves.
Oh. Okay.
So we never had too many of them.
Did you get a chance to keep a personal diary?
No, I never. I wished I would have.
Yeah. Do you recall the day your service ended?
Oh yeah, I was in Boston at that. They called it they called it the Fargo building. That's where they sent you from your ship. You took your sea bag and all your stuff and went over there, and I had to stay there and pass the physical and get some shots, and then they'd see that you was recommended for a dishonorable discharge.
What did you do in the days and weeks after you were mustered out?
Well, I went home, and I didn't do much. Oh, I'd just been home about a month. You see, I got home about this. Well, tell somebody. And we had that, you probably heard of that 49 blizzard, 48, 49. Well, I just been home about a month. And this friend of mine, we went, it was hot. You didn't even need a coat on how warm it was. And that was the last day of December. And we went out, and you could drive along the roads. There's a lot of snow on the ground then, but hell, you could shoot pheasants. It was thick back then. And then this 49 blizzard just killed them. There wasn't hardly anything left. But the next day that storm started, and it went for 3 or 4 days. And people come in off of the road to the storm, and they parked their cars trying to get in someplace. You know, when that thing ended, I went downtown. Well, you had to walk over them. And they couldn't find their cars. It was covered up. Just clear up the, well, it was clear up the top of the store buildings.
Wow. Did you work or go back to school?
No, I went to work on a ranch.
That was the family's ranch, was it?
No, the guy by the name of Pete Limley.
Okay. And did you ever go back to school at all?
No.
Okay. Did you make any close friendships while in the service?
Well, yeah, I did, but there's one kid I used to contact, was Ernest Duke. I've contacted him several times. I haven't heard from him in a long time. I don't know if he's still alive or not.
Okay. Did you join a veterans organization?
I belonged to the VFW after I got down. Yeah, I did belong to it up there too, that's right.
Okay. So what did you do as a career after the war? You just worked on the ranch?
I worked on a ranch, and then I got that guy, I wanted to move there and take my family there and work on his ranch, but he wouldn't go for it, so I said, well, I'm going to quit, Pete. I want to live with my family. So I went back home, and then I lived in town, and this guy lived out north of town hired me. He was a farmer, and I worked for him that summer. Then I got a job on the State Highway Commission. See, my dad had leased his place out.
To the office. Kenny Reed, report to the office.
And I wanted to go back there. So one day, I was working on a state highway. One day he come and my boss come up there and said, hey, your dad's down there, he wants to see you. So he said, I was running one of them big Packers, and he said, you take my pickup, go down and talk to him. And so I got on, I said, yeah, you want to see me, Dad? Yeah. I'm going to be home down there tonight. I want to visit with you and your wife. Her name's Aaliyah, you and Aletha, to see if you want to go back on the ranch. Well, I said, that's what I wanted to do when I got out of the service, Dad. So we went back there and run that for 10 years. And he wanted to sell out, and he wanted 65 an acre, and there's about 7,000 acres. And I said, Dad, I don't know if I want to go in debt that deep. So this other guy bought it, and I worked for him for 15 years.
That was in Quinn, South Dakota?
Yeah.
Okay. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war, about the military in general?
No, it didn't bother me any.
Okay. In general, what has your military service meant to you?
Well, it meant quite a lot to me.
102, Mrs. Aguirre.
My boy joined the Naval Air Force in 1968, and he was stationed at Lemoore, California, and he went out there to Fallon, Nevada, where they took their training, and they always went back to Lemoore on weekends, and he got killed in a car accident going back to Lemoore.
Oh.
So that meant quite a lot to me.
Okay, yeah. Are there any activities that you're involved with the VFW?
No,
Okay. Do you ever attend any reunions?
no, I never have.
Okay. Have you visited any military museums?
No, but I've been going to go down here to this.
Ireland?